Good evening, family and friends. It's your big bald-headed sister, Action Jacqueline. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Bald Girl Newscast. I haven't done the Bald Girl News officially in a couple weeks, so I'm really excited because I think we have some interesting topics to talk about this September. We are in Alopecia Awareness Month, so this is a great time to bring a resurgence back of the Bald Girl News. We just discussed here all the fun stuff that's going on in the news surrounding hair loss, alopecia, wigs, that sort of thing. I don't get too much into regrowing hair and all that stuff because there are so many magic treatments out there that may or may not work. So we don't even get into that in the Bald Girl News, but I do have interesting topics to talk about. I want to piggyback off of a conversation I was having in an earlier live where I was recommending that alopecia princes and princesses don't get caught up listening to the advice of people who do not have alopecia. The reason why I talked about that was because I read an article about a girl. The girl that you're looking at here, she's a woman from the UK, out of Cumberland. I believe she works at a bank. She started to lose her hair while she was working at this bank, and she was discussing how much it was helpful to her experience to have a team of coworkers who were supportive. But she did have a boss, right? She had a boss who was also very supportive, and supportive people can give bad advice too, right? And they could give advice that can be internalized in ways that maybe they didn't intend it to be. This woman does not seem to be bothered at all by the advice that she was given. I just took issue with it as a woman with alopecia. So let me go ahead and read it to you. Rebecca Gibson from Stainton, that's a city, I guess, in the UK somewhere. She says, walking into work with a wig for the first time was daunting, but everyone was supportive. I have had a lot of kindness from my line managers, my branch colleagues, and also from customers. As a branch team at the Cumberland, we are very close and supportive of each other. Alopecia can cause partial or total loss of hair on the head and body. Miss Gibson, who lives with her husband, Richard, and sons, Albie and Austin, has decided to share her story in the hope of helping others. She said, alopecia is quite common. A lot of people don't talk about it, and that's okay. But I prefer to be quite vulnerable and open. It's helped me navigate the condition, and I hope that it helps other people as well. Her symptoms began with the loss of an eyebrow and progressed to the gradual loss on her head, eyelashes, and eventually all over her body. In 2023, after returning from a holiday in Tenerife, she made the decision to shave her head. She said, I was wearing wigs, but they are not easy to find. And it's not easy to find one that feels like you. And I was experimenting with headbands. I got back home and decided to take back control, and I shaved my head. Miss Gibson said the experience felt empowering, and she wanted to show her son, Albie, that a person's value isn't defined by their hair. She said it felt quite empowering. It was at home, and Richard did it. Richard is her husband. I had Albie with me, her son. I wanted to show him it doesn't matter about your hair. It's you as a person that matters. Afterwards, I felt fine. I have not gotten upset. I can't control the alopecia. I just thought I need to deal with this and find a way. It's also important to say that we all deal with things differently, and it's okay to be upset and feel different emotions if you're experiencing hair loss. Miss Gibson says she found comfort and understanding in an online community. She said they helped me to realize I wasn't on my own. Her workplace played a key role in her journey as well. She said my colleagues at the Cumberland were great. I can be open, and I would show them the back of my hair and say, it's getting worse. How does it look? It would be very difficult if I couldn't be open, she says. Her manager offered supportive advice that stayed with her. She said, he said something that stuck with me. He said, don't let this become who you are, your identity. And that helped me through. Miss Gibson was encouraged to take time off if needed for medical appointments or to try wigs. And she also received support from the Cumberland's in-house occupational therapist. Okay, so I'm not going to read any further. I'm going to stop right there. And I just want to hone in on the area where her boss said, don't let this become who you are, your identity. Okay, and I want to talk about that for a second because me, as your fellow alopecia princess, big bull-headed sister, I have completely let alopecia become me. You know what I'm saying? And I really don't have a choice in the matter, because if it's one thing for certain, people know you're wearing a wig. Very few of us are so good that we never have a bad hair day, that every morning we wake up and we never show that lace. And because they can tell, they're going to ask about it. I've never existed in a space where I wasn't asked about my hair. It's almost a distraction to women. Women are so easily distracted, I tell you. When it comes to hair, it's like work can't get done in the office, classwork stops. I mean, like, have you ever sat as a person who wears wig every day? Have you ever sat down with someone and you're talking to them and the entire time they're staring at the top of your head like this? The whole entire time they're just staring at the top of your head, trying to dissect whether or not that thing on your head is your actual hair. And it becomes the only thing on their minds. I tell you, this kind of advice that this woman's boss gave her, don't let this become you. I feel like, how is she supposed to do that? That's my question. How is she supposed to not let it become you? And I'm going to go ahead and read to you the next article from the Ball Girl News session. Kate Middleton is being accused of wearing a wig, y'all, which I find insane. Imagine being accused of wearing a wig in the same way that someone is accused of stealing or accused of cheating. And this is how the article was titled, right, y'all. This is how the article was titled. Kate Middleton is being accused. Okay, here's Kate Middleton, y'all. Okay, so Kate Middleton is accused of wearing a wig after debuting new blonde locks. Are we supposed to believe this is her natural hair? That's what the streets are saying, y'all, about Kate Middleton. The Princess of Wales just debuted a blonde new look, and some people are speculating that it might not even be her real hair. Prince William and Kate Middleton stepped out to see the Natural History Museum's newly transformed gardens on September 4th. Kate noticeably sported her blonde locks and marks the first time she's colored her hair as a working royal. Her bouncy blowout included her signature soft curls that blew against the wind. However, here she is. This is the picture that got everybody's panties up in a tussie. However, some royal fans became critical of her looks after they theorized that it might be a wig. Are we supposed to believe this is Kate's natural hair? Call me crazy, but this looks like a wig to me, one person wrote on X. Other people wrote their thoughts on the matter. I hope this is a wig because Kate Middleton's new look is just plain awful. I'm going to scroll down so that I can finish reading it. Some royal fans defended Kate's natural locks. It's not a wig. You can see at the front that it isn't a wig. Kate Middleton has hair extensions in. Look at the back of her head. All right, so this goes back to our friend who works at the bank, whose boss told her, don't let this hair loss, don't let this alopecia become you. How do you not let this become you when this is what you're faced with on a daily basis? Okay, I want to finish reading. Whether it's a wig or not, the princess is rocking out a bold statement with her hair after her long year of cancer treatment. So now we know she had cancer, or she has cancer. So these people who are accusing her of wearing a wig are probably aware that she has cancer, but that doesn't matter. That's not going to stop them from pulling any punches, right? The working royal has slowly been re-entering the public sphere, but has been taking things very slow. Behind closed doors, she's still struggling emotionally and tires a lot more easily. It's taking longer to readjust to royal life after her cancer treatment, a palace insider claimed. Kate made the announcement that she's done with cancer treatment on January 24th. It is a relief to now be in remission, and I remain focused on recovery, she wrote on their joint social media account. As anyone who has experienced a cancer diagnosis will know, it takes time to adjust to a new normal. I am, however, looking forward to a fulfilling year ahead. There is much to look forward to. Thank you to everyone for your continued support. All right, this hurts, y'all. This is the stuff that really hurts. As a person who has alopecia, let's look at her again, by the way. I recognize that alopecia, hair loss, is not the end of the world. We're not going to die over this hair loss. You may feel at times that your heart is going to break and that might cause you to die, but you're not going to die. Not from alopecia. But cancer? Y'all are really making fun of someone who you know has cancer, okay? Maybe us in America don't know that Kate Middleton has cancer. I do remember hearing about that a few months ago, and for some reason it just didn't register. Reading it again, I remember, but people in the UK are well aware, I'm sure, that this woman is suffering from cancer, and it does not stop them from demeaning her about wearing a wig. Help me with that, y'all. Help me. All right. So there was another article that countered this, and I read this one in Yahoo Life. This is entitled, "I'm a therapist with alopecia. Let's not discuss Kate Middleton's hair." Wow, they look different. I wonder what happened. I'm sure you've had this thought many times in your life, looking at a celebrity, someone you know or someone you just met. I understand why. It's hard to resist the impulse when you notice something novel or unusual. On Wednesday, images of Kate Middleton sporting a new blonde look surfaced on social media. And while many websites and Instagram accounts took to praising her lighter locks and reposting the photos, the comment sections of these posts told a different story. They were flooded with questions about Middleton's health. In 2024, she announced she had cancer and wondered aloud whether she might be wearing a wig or how she managed to have more hair after treatment. Our society has a long-standing problem with people believing it is acceptable to comment on another person's body. With the rise of the body positivity movement, the social consciousness became somewhat more aware that these comments are unacceptable and harmful. But what the online conversation about Middleton shows is that we've quickly forgotten that someone's hair or hair loss is just like their size or skin. Commenting on someone's hair is no different than commenting on any other part of their body. And by doing so, you are increasing their risk of body image injury and body consciousness. And frankly, it's none of your business. I started losing my hair at age 3 and have been bald since I was 6 due to alopecia areata. I have often been at the receiving end of these types of thoughts. That girl is bald, which is quickly turned into assumptions. She must be sick. And of course, the occasional rude comment, "That's gross, put a wig on." My experience with hair loss is largely what inspired my career as a therapist who specializes in body image. As a child, I learned quickly that being visibly different meant people felt entitled to comment on my body and make bold assumptions about my health. Hair can be closely tied to one's identity. Aside from the fact that people tend to identify others by describing their hair color or length, many use their hair as a form of self-expression. For some, hair is part of the culture. It's often central to how people recognize themselves, which can make losing your hair for any reason traumatizing. The changing image in the mirror, bald patches emerging overnight, the braids that connected to your heritage no longer being an option, and the fear of it never coming back are just small glimpses into what someone might go through. A meta-analysis of 5,553 patients found that nearly half experienced anxiety disorders as a result of their hair loss condition. How cruel that on top of all that, people feel entitled to an explanation. I'm sure you would agree that if you experienced a traumatic event, whether cancer or hair loss, you would want the privacy to navigate such life-altering situation. Public figures deserve no different as it relates to their body and health. Another truth is that these comments can be even more dangerous when they're targeted at a celebrity. Why? Because hair loss is already stigmatized and shamed. In Middleton's case, news outlets treaded lightly, but implicitly, as the comments show, these photos call attention to something deeper. Middleton's cancer diagnosis, speculation about whether she's experiencing hair loss, and if so, what she's decided to do about it. It only reinforces that stigma and collective body consciousness for all people. Okay, so a woman was arrested after setting victim's wig on fire in downtown Winnipeg. Winnipeg is in Canada, y'all. Let's go ahead and read this insane story. Winnipeg police have charged a 40-year-old woman after an unusual assault in the city's downtown Friday afternoon. Around 4:30 p.m., police say the woman confronted a 50-year-old stranger on the sidewalk in the 200 block of Hargrave Street. Without warning, she allegedly ignited the victim's wig with a portable butane torch. This is how angry some people are when they see another person happy. I've experienced this many times before. People angry because I'm happy. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and repeat this. Around 4:30 p.m., police say the woman confronted a 50-year-old stranger on the sidewalk, and without warning, she allegedly ignited the victim's wig with a portable butane torch. The victim managed to remove the wig before being injured, but she was then physically assaulted. So after she took the wig off, she was assaulted by the lady, by the 40-year-old. And she suffered minor injuries. Police located the suspect nearby about 45 minutes later and arrested her without incident. Thank God. Thank God she was arrested. I hope she's still in jail. She's been charged with assault with a weapon and released on an undertaking to appear in court at a later date. Isn't that crazy? Just wow. Very sorry for the victim. I'm glad she didn't suffer serious injuries. And I hope that mentally she's okay. Daughter? Hi. I can't see. You have to come over here. Oh, you're leaving? Oh, have fun. You look very pretty. Hey. Be safe out there. Okay. Love you. Okay. All right, so let's move on. Some good news for men who have embraced wig culture. We don't call them wigs anymore when it's for men, though. We call them hair systems. Y'all get a special designation. So on USA Today, we reported on Ben Sherry. He started going bald at 18. His shocking wig video went viral and is inspiring others. Okay, Ben Sherry says he spent his early 20s trying nearly everything to fix it. At first, he turned to topical medication. That didn't help. Neither did the pills his doctor prescribed, nor the oils, serums, derma rollers, or a slew of other products desperate people in his situation so often turn to. That's how come I don't talk about these magic cures, y'all, because 99% of them don't work. And I know this number is correct. I think they say 97% of the treatments out there don't work. So keep that in mind. After 5 years, Sherry, now 26, says he finally surrendered to the inevitable. He was going bald. I'm taking the pills, he says. It's not having any effect. At what point do I kind of just have to face the acceptance piece? Okay? According to the American Hair Loss Association, about 2/3 of men will be affected by hair loss by the time they're 35. For some, like Sherry, the impact will hit sooner. A 1998 study found 16% of all men experience moderate to extensive hair loss between the ages of 18 and 29. Sherry started noticing signs when he was 18. Though a common experience, hair loss still carries stigma. Sherry is trying to change that. On social media, he raises awareness about the topic by sharing aspects of his life with male pattern baldness. One of his videos, in which he shows how he upkeeps his wig, also known as hair system, has gotten over 41 million views on TikTok and 19 million on Instagram. Ooh, somebody's getting paid. And prompted massive conversation in the comments about self-love, confidence, and masculinity. Sherry says he hopes his video has normalized that people lose their hair and they don't feel great about it. But the other message, he adds, is one of finding self-confidence and not having to be perfect. Many men go bald. Still, there's stigma. Sherry says he's always had thin hair. By the time he entered college, however, he noticed he was beginning to lose it. He attributes his hair loss to genetics as well as to contracting COVID-19 at the end of his sophomore year in late 2020. After which point he says his hair density nosedived. Sherry knows firsthand the impact hair loss can have on mental health and self-esteem. It can be especially brutal, he says, for someone just starting adulthood. I think those years of 18 to 22 are just really a time period where you probably aren't as sure of yourself as you would like to be. It's not that deep at the end of the day. It's just here. But when you're 19 or 20, it can be tough because it's something that everyone else has. And there he is without his hair. People can also make hurtful comments about hair loss without realizing, even friends. Sherry recalls one instance that stung in particular. when a friend pointed out his hair loss at a social gathering. It is one thing to be insecure in your own head about it, he says. It's another thing to have someone else mention it or call you out on it. Really is. Sherry started wearing his hair system in May. It can be a hassle to apply and maintain, he says, and eventually he'd like to get to a place where he's comfortable not wearing it. It looks really good, though. Look at it. I like his toupee or his hair system. But for now, he says it's helped him navigate the world while getting used to life without hair. And there's no shame in that. Right now, this is just what makes me feel confident, he says. I would much rather go through life feeling confident when I can and then actually face the insecurities and those things later on when I feel like I have more of a tool set to do it. Then Sherry's viral video and its message about hair loss. Sherry did not expect his video about hair system to blow up the way that it did. He also didn't expect the amount of positivity it inspired in the comments. One TikTok commenter wrote, "It's actually so hot when men are confident and comfortable in their masculinity and ability to be vulnerable to share things like this." An Instagram user added, "I think you're extremely cool for showing this. More of this masculinity and men. You're already trying your best, but we're here to make your life even better." The encouragement, Sherry says, has been refreshing. And he says many people have reached out to him privately as well. Some are men going through the same thing and asking for advice. Some are mothers, wives, and girlfriends asking how they can support the men in their life who are also experiencing hair loss. Sherry hopes his video inspires men, balding or not, to embrace self-care and find ways to be the best version of themselves. I love it. I wish they had a link to the video. I'm a little upset about that because I'd love to play it for you. But I'm sure you could find it if you take a minute to look. Something just stood out to me in this article and I wanted to talk about it. Can I talk to you men, if you don't mind? I don't know what it's like to be a man losing hair, but I do know what it's like to be a woman losing hair. And I know something about upkeep and maintenance of these wigs that maybe men are not familiar with, because I don't think men are raised doting over their hair. And one thing you should know, guys, if you're listening, please allow me to give you this little bit of advice. Sorry. One thing you should know about wigs, toupees, and hair systems is that they require lots of maintenance. Please do not be that guy who spent over $2,000 on your hair system only to not wash it twice a week. You gotta wash it twice a week, otherwise it'll start looking stiff. I'm a big bald-headed sister, Action Jacqueline. Thank you so much for joining me in today's show.